So as he's going around the corner here, the police pull him off his bike, slam his head into the top of the car, slam his head into the side of the car, slam his head into the ground, slam his head 3 times, and then 3 police officers get on his chest and hold him down. They take him to the first precinct. They have him handcuffed so hard that there's bruises on his arms from the handcuffs, and they lock him up there at the first precinct. And his parents are looking for him. Dave Tillery, Monday Tillery, are looking for him. Monday Tillery, the mother of Ahmand Tillery, has a tracker on her phone that's connected to her son's phones because it was Ahmand, his brother, and a friend. So 3 on bikes. And the tracker brings her to dumpsters. So she thinks that her son is dead and put in a dumpster. Finally, as they go to the dumpsters looking for his son, it leads her to the first precinct. She goes into the first precinct and her son is there. But the police never called the mother, never called the father, and never read Ahmand Tillery his rights. So there's injustice on many levels in this case. When I got to the hospital that night, the day after the Martin Luther King celebration, this Tuesday, I had just given a presentation on police brutality at the Chamber of Commerce meeting. And when I got to the hospital, Dave Tillery, the father, was on the phone with Councilwoman Dorothy Gooseby and County Executive Laura Curran. So I let the county executive know, and I let the Councilwoman Dorothy Gooseby, whose godson this is, know that I am at the hospital, that this was a great act of injustice, and that these officers need to be removed. That this isn't the first case. This has happened to Red Hefner. This has happened to Marcy Brando. This has happened to Andre Simmons. This has happened to a host of young black men and women in the Roosevelt community. And it cannot be tolerated. So Councilman Gooseby had stated that he has been honored by Hempstead, honored by Nassau County. He is a Boy Scout. He is doing extremely well in school. I shared with her that I was just with him the night before at the Martin Luther King celebration at the Faith Baptist Church. $16,000 worth of scholarships was given out. He was on the choir. His pastor preached, Pastor Tillery. This is his pastor right here, who baptized him. Knows his family. His family is a faithful member of that church. So I said, I know about this young man. He's accountable to the community. He's a resident of Roosevelt. He sings on his church choir. He was at the Martin Luther King Scholarship Program. And the day after that great program where $16,000 was raised for scholarship, he's beat brutally by the first precinct officers, which is not representative of the officers that I've known over the years. The officers who've come in, I've seen actually save lives. Not try to take lives, but save lives. So these officers are taking things in the wrong direction. They don't understand the community. They don't know the children by name, as many other officers do. And they don't need to be here in the community because they will do police harassment against Red Hefner, standing right here. They'll do acts of police brutality against Andre Simmons, a member of our community, Marcy Brando. And the list just goes on and on and on. There are young people that give me a call 2-3 o'clock in the morning and share with me the police brutality that they have experienced in Roosevelt. So this is the tip of the iceberg. And if they went over the bridge, they would not do that right over the bridge to our brothers and sisters in America.
They basically took him off the bike and smashed his head on the ground?
They took him off the bike, smashed his head first on the hood of the car, the side of the car, and then on the ground. He has the hoodie that is full of blood. Yes, I saw it myself. So we want to come together and send a strong message that this is unacceptable. They need to go back to the tradition of the officers that meet with members of the community, and not these officers who are rogue that take justice into their own hands. It's not justice, it's injustice. And we stand against this beating. It's unacceptable.
How was he make it to the hospital?
Yeah, he was at Mount Sinai, South Nassau in Oceanside, and I went to have prayer with him that night. If you go on my Facebook page, the video of that visit and that interview is there with all the details.
How's he doing?
Well, he should be here today. He's in a lot of pain, but he is recovering. This is his father, Dave Tillery. Yes, indeed.
How you doing?
This is Reginald Polk, the head of National Action Network
Yeah, he's the one that called me. I
for
told him
Nassau
to come
County.
in.
All right, and this is Reverend Linwood Deans of Haven Helping Violence Now, the Hempstead Cluster. All right, so the community really has come together. This my father gave his life fighting for the young people of Roosevelt. We fought hard to get the Roosevelt Youth Center. When he passed away, this park was named after him. And we're not going to sit by and tolerate some road cops beating up our young black man near the Reverend Mackey Senior Park, in Roosevelt, or any other community. It's unacceptable. And they must be removed.
This happened the day after Martin Luther King Day. About what time?
Brother Tillery, about what time did the incident happen?
About this time.
About this time?
Yeah, like 12, like about 12:10. Because you said they had to be 12:10. Yeah, they had to be home. My wife called them about 11:48 on her phone, spoke to them, and they were on their way home. And
everybody in the
they just never
community
made
knows
it.
him. If you look on that video, there's pictures with him being honored by his godmother, Councilman Gooseby. She's a godmother to all the children in the family. Pictures with Lord Curran. We were with him the night before at Faith Baptist Church. Don Clavin, the new supervisor. So it's just totally unacceptable. And even if he was he's a good kid, but even if he was a bad kid, we would still stand up for him. Because the thing is, police brutality is wrong. There's situations where you've had people kill someone, and they take them to Burger King, and they handle them lightly. Dylan Roof, they killed the people in the church there in North Carolina. They took them to Burger King. It's not. It's a double standard. So we're here to stand up against that. And we thank God for these community leaders.
I'm waiting for lawyers to come.
What's your reaction?
I'm shocked. I mean, as a homeowner, as a taxpayer, I would have expected much better from my police force. But this doesn't implicate the whole police force, just the few that made the wrong decision.
How is your son now? What kind of injuries did he sustain?
My head injuries, foot, chest, legs, arms,
He was taken to the hospital.
Yes, immediately. I mean, they held them for 3 hours. We had to find them. We had to GPS them.
3 hours.
Yeah, we had to GPS them to find out that they were in the police precinct. I mean, that's pretty much kidnapping.
And how long was he in the hospital?
We arrived at the hospital about 1730 hours. We were in there. No, I'm sorry. About 1800 hours. And we were in the hospital until 1:30 a.m.
And you have his bloody.
Let me know that.
It's okay, we can do that. So talk about your son a little bit.
I'm right around.
What kind of kid is your son?
He's great. He's a boy, Boy Scouts. He's on the church choir. Does a lot of community service. He's definitely a role model in his own right. I mean, he learns from the best. Look at the people that came out, in support of him. And this is an unfortunate event. We have people like Andreas 13 that's here.
You don't wear that?
Also, we have. How you doing, brother?
Doing, how you guys doing?
All right. As you can see, the support. My wife. Well, they had the Regents exams that they didn't have to take because they already had passed them. So they were off from school the day after Martin Luther King's birthday. This is Tuesday. They asked my wife if they could go bike riding to the park here, Roosevelt Park. And so my wife said, "Okay, you guys be back by 12:30," because she had to take my oldest son out, to an appointment. About 10 minutes to 12, she calls them. This is the last communication she had with them. Said, okay, you guys, head back home. They said, okay, Mom, on our way. They never made it home. About 1:30, my wife, she calls me at the job and she says, David, did you see the boys? No, did you contact the boys? I'm trying to reach them. And I said, no, I said, they didn't pick up their phone. You know, it's going straight to their voicemail. It's going to both their voicemails. And she said, well, I'm gonna keep trying. I said, okay. 2:30 comes along, 14:30 hours. She says, I can't find them. I'm going to GPS their phone because we have tracking devices on their phone, in which I say that every parent should have on their children's phone nowadays, if possible, especially when they're minors. They, she traced them. The beacon, as she got closer, it was leading my wife to dumpsters. She was out looking at dumpsters for the kids because that's where the beacon was flashing. Until finally she got close enough to the precinct, obviously, and it showed that they were there at the first precinct. This is about 1,500 hours now. She walked inside. She asked the receptionist, do you have 3 kids here, held here? And they said, well, how do you know if there's 3 kids held here? She said, I'm asking. They said, well, how do you know if they're here or not? She said, because I traced their phones. Their phones are registering here, first precinct in
So
Baldwin.
basically, they were abducted by the police.
Yes.
And then they were police filed false charges against them.
Yes, and filed false charges against them, and they beat one, which is my son Ahmand.
Yes, it was just like during slavery. They would have parties around lynching and cutting the body parts and splitting mothers' bellies. They never apologized for enslaving us. We built this country. Our ancestors, the buildings they built are still standing. The ones they built are falling down. People have to be accountable on every level. They have no accountability in our community. We pay the highest taxes in Nassau County, more than Garden City, but you see the bills, the student, how much money the students in Garden City get to go get educated compared to Roosevelt community. We have to understand right is right and wrong is wrong. We're the most humane people in the world. We help build this country. And we still the catalysts for change and progress. This government is not going to change unless we can't count on the Democrats, the Republicans, the independents. We as Africans born in this country and our ancestry is the key to saving America and the world. This is all over the world they understand. When I went to Africa and everywhere, they said we need you in the United States making a better America so we can have a better world. The people understand the difference between black folks, Africans born in this country, and everything. They understand it already. When I was in Paris and everywhere, in the 60s, I came home because Dr. King was assassinated.
The other part of this is we should have